Okay, briefly, I want to touch on parental guidance and the proper upbringing of children. But before I do so, I just want to pose a question, which is, are we raising our children or are we lowering our children? That is the question. The question that not only am I asking you, but I'm asking you to ask yourself. Are you raising your child or are you lowering your child? Some of us are lowering our children unknowingly, ignorantly, blindly. We think we're raising our children, but we're actually lowering our children. But first, I want to start by saying that you are your child's first teacher. You are your child's first guidance counselor. You are your children's primary teacher. You are your children's primary guidance counselor, not someone else, not an outsider, not a stranger, not someone from the building you call school. It is your duty, your obligation first to teach and to guide your children. See, there are parents who tell their children to do as they say, not as they do. See, but children learn by example. So they'll most likely do as you do first, and as you say second. Children are more likely to do as you do than they are to do as you say. So, wouldn't it be more logical for parents to do as they say? Then the child can do as you say and as you do, because you'll be leading by example and not command. Our children are reflections of our perceptions, our behaviors, and our actions. Some of us don't know that ignorance is hereditary. Parents pass it on to their children. But see, knowledge is also hereditary. Parents pass it on to their children. Now, you have to ask yourself, what will you pass on? What have you passed on? Some of us want our children to participate in what all the other kids are doing, or to have what all the other kids have, because you don't want them to feel left out. So, why should they base their feelings on the expectations of others? That isn't healthy. Why are we teaching them to base their feelings on the expectations, the wants, or desires of others? Do we want our children to be leaders or followers? See, leaders set trends and followers follow trends. Leaders lead and followers follow. Don't encourage your children to fit in. Don't encourage them to be followers. Encourage them to be leaders. But before I say that, I should ask you to ask yourself, do you want your children to be leaders or do you want your children to be followers? Don't encourage your children to fit in. Encourage them to stand out. Teach them to be individuals, to think as individuals, to move and to act as individuals, not crowd seekers. There's a time and a place for teamwork and team effort. But first you must learn yourself and who you are. And we also have to ask ourselves, are we raising our children to uplift humanity? Or are we raising our children to pull down humanity? What will help uplift humanity? What won't help uplift humanity? What are we doing to uplift humanity? What are we doing to teach our children how to uplift humanity? Are we teaching them what is uplifting to humanity and what is pulling down humanity? What is a help to humanity? What's hindering humanity? Are we even teaching them what humanity is? Do we even know what humanity is? If we're all humans, why does the world lack humanity? Is the world lacking humanity because there's a lack of humans? Just think about that. See, true humans are natural humans, or true humans are natural people who live a natural way of life. Unnatural humans or natural human-like individuals or mankind live unnatural ways of life. The unnatural way of life has been imposed on the world. We have to be aware of this. See, people have acquired materialistic desires, resulting in unnatural ways of living. Thus, inhumanity is killing humanity. Now, just to back up a little bit, we have to really ask ourselves, are we really acting as humans? Are we really acting? Are we really performing with humanity? Are we really moving with humanity? Is there light in man? Is there any hue to be seen? See, and that's when you get into respect or seeing the light in someone. You can't respect someone or something that isn't human because there's no light to see in it, inside or out of it. Have we become so synthetic? You know, they've created genetically modified organisms, or they created GMOs to turn us into GMOs. They've programmed computers to program us. And we're functioning as we're synthetic, like we're programmed beings. Like we're part of a program, an application, part of someone's software. We're not acting as humans, as natural beings. Those who live a natural and divine way. Those that are in tune with nature. See, we have been programmed and conditioned to go against nature. And those who go against nature surely will lose. See, these are some of the things that we have to instill in our children at an early age. We have to plant the seed while they're young, so that seed of knowledge will grow with them. We have to educate our children, bring out their inner genius. We have to entertain less and educate more, because entertainment is something entering and containing you. Something that is entering and possessing you, entering inside of you and controlling you. Whereas education is bringing out what is already within, the genius that is already within you, not someone else's perception of genius, not someone else's definition of what genius or what greatness is, but your true, natural greatness and genius. See, we have to get back to nature and natural living. being human again. We have to regain our humanity if we've lost it. Some of us have, some of us haven't. But I do know that the children are the future. Your children are your ancestors returned. So we must usher them into this world properly, and we must equip them with all the tools necessary for their evolution this go round. So I just briefly wanted to touch on those things and just pose a few questions, just something for you to think on, um, and just answer honestly to yourself, and honestly analyze and critique these things, and do what's needed to uplift and to raise the vibration of yourselves and your children and your family as a whole. So with that I say, wholeness family, rise and be greater.